Okay, so page 65 will be a review paper uh, to help you get a good grade for your long test in this chapter. Make sure that you complete the review notes. Okay, so on your Cornell's note, number that page 65, and for the topic, go ahead and just write review for conservation of mechanical energy test. Okay, today's date should be the 27th. Alright, so what are the pages that you will need for this test? Make sure that you check your binder and that you have the following pages. We will be needing pages 58 through 64. Okay. Alright, expect on the test the following. Make sure that you know the units and symbols used in this chapter. That means you need to refer to your formula chart. You know, basic symbols like what is KE, what is PE, what is ME. You should be able to know that. Next, understand that on page 58 we have the concepts given in there. Know the definitions of the following words. Energy. Of course, if you're listening on the first video, you should know that energy is the ability to do work. Then, what is potential energy? With that, we have 3 types of potential energy. Hopefully your notes has definitions on what are the 3 types of potential energy. Then the 3 factors affecting potential energy. And from that, of course, we get it from the equation M times G times H. So this 3 over here, if you know the meaning of those 3 from your formula chart, you should be able to know the 3 factors. Okay? So you have your mass, your gravity, and your height. What that means is what? If your mass is heavier, of course, your potential energy will increase. If your height is higher, your potential energy will also increase. Alright, next, the kinetic energy. What do we mean by kinetic energy? And then that includes the 2 types, not the 2 types, 2 factors affecting kinetic energy. So we also get this from the equation mv squared divided by 2. So these are the 2 factors affecting kinetic energy, your mass and the speed. So a heavy object will have a greater kinetic energy, and a faster object will have a greater kinetic energy. Next, in one of your notes, you've also learned about the important law, conservation of mechanical energy. In your chemistry, you might have learned about conservation of energy as a whole, but in this chapter, we'll limit the type of energy into the mechanical. Okay? And ME, a simple equation will tell you the law. ME equals PE plus KE. Okay, so that's the sum of PE and KE is the mechanical energy. The word conservation is quite different from what we know every day. To conserve meaning you try to save. Conserve in terms of the law in physics means that whatever the quantity is being conserved, it remains the same. Okay? On your notes, you should have the illustration of a roller coaster and how the energy is being conserved. And we said that at any point here, at any point, your mechanical energy always remains the same. Okay? Such that whatever is the change in potential energy is the opposite to the kinetic energy. And that is being shown by your bars. If this is PE, this is KE. So let's pretend we start from point A. That's the highest point. So that means that your potential energy there is full. Because remember, if the height is great, potential energy is great. And since if this started from rest, and then it will start rolling down, that means that at this point, your kinetic energy is 0. So notice that potential is high, kinetic is low. Now the opposite will happen if we look at this at the point of the lowest point B. Lowest point B. Then we know that at the lowest point, your speed is the fastest. And at a very fast speed, your kinetic energy is greatest. Okay? So as this rolls down again, your potential energy will start going down, but your kinetic energy will start going up. It's always the opposite. If the PE is increasing, kinetic energy is decreasing, or vice versa. Alright, that's your conservation of mechanical energy. Next to that, you will also solve problems and that's from pages 60 and 61. Alright, so make sure that you are using your guess method in that, and you're looking at the question, what is the unknown, what are they given, and then use your calculators correctly. Alright, the last two parts that will be included on your test are the worksheets that we did yesterday, pages 63 and 64. So here are some pointers that I want you to use when you're solving these problems. Okay, normally in a problem solving, you will be given several points. So let's pretend that, okay, we will be looking at point A, and let's just say point B. So the normal question will always gonna be, at what point is the speed the fastest? Okay? And then you will solve for that speed. And the third question will be, how far up the other hill will the object be able to go. Okay, so 3 questions. So the first thing that you need to do for these 3 questions is, of course, you always need to start from the initial point. If I say analyze at point A, some of you analyzed at B. So always analyze at the point that is being asked. If you analyze at point A, that means that you need to get first your total energy. And again, when I use the word total energy, that's your mechanical energy. That means you will get your PE at that point first, and then get your KE at that point, and then add them. Okay, so some of you might say, how am I supposed to get PE? How am I supposed to get KE? Again, PE is mgh. Okay, KE is mv squared divided by 2. So after you get these two, you add them and you get your mechanical energy. Again, this mechanical energy remains the same. Okay, so you do that, you get the total energy from the first point, or from the initial point. After you do that, you do the same thing for number 2. Now you get the total energy, or mechanical energy, at the second point. Okay? After you get the mechanical energy at the second point, then you will use this mechanical energy to get your kinetic energy at that point. So kinetic energy at the second point, since you do not know the speed there, you will use the equation KE equals ME minus PE. Okay? After you get the kinetic energy from that point, now you can solve for speed, which will be the square root of 2 KE over M. And right after you do that, now you can solve for how far. How far means the height. And if the object is starting from rest, then you will use PE over mg. Okay? Starting from rest. Or if the object is initially moving, then you will use ME over mg. This is if it's initially moving. So expect 2 types of problems on this last part. All right, there you go. So hopefully this little review notes will help you get organized and make sure that you will pass this long test.